Hello? Happy time zone, everybody. You are getting me pretty much fresh out of the vehicle today. So we might just be, I don't know. I get to have a weird feeling that we're going to like just basically start in the weird part of the stream and just kind of carry on from there. But we're going to be doing our best. We're going to be doing our best this evening. Loot, you did yoink the crown. Congratulations. Alright, and Jackie, if it makes you feel better about the fact that YouTube notifies you that the live you're currently watching is live, I also get notifications that I'm live, and usually I'm aware of that fact already. So, excellent. Alright, what am I doing? We're going to start the poll. That's where we're going to start, and then we will catch up with everything else. So, I tried to set my sights on realism. Like, we're going to be realistic today. I'm trying to remember what the actual theme was that I chose, because I set this all up on Thursday before I left the city. But I've given you 3 options to pick from, and I believe my theme is, like, prehistoric. I think that's the theme for today. It's prehistoric, and I'm hoping as we reveal them that I remember any punchlines that I may have had in mind. I don't even know if this is funny. So, we'll find out together. So your options right now are 1, 2, or 3. And I'll be pretty pleased if we get through 1. I'm not ruling out the option of getting through 2, but we're just going to see how we feel after working on 1 for a bit. So, there we go. That poll has now commenced. Now let me turn on the mini player in the corner, and I will show you some other stuff. So that goes down there. And then, where are you? There we go. Okay, so, from the 6 I think I owe you guys, I've only managed to finish Ladybug since we spoke last. Hello. But one thing that I did do is I swapped her horns from charcoal to black, because when I made the spots in black, I realized that it all needed to match, or I would be unhappy. So, Ladybug. That's Spoticus the Ladybug. Some of you have noticed that I have managed to frame the poster in the background. It's just acrylic, it's not glass or anything fancy, and it won't be staying there. It's just there at the moment, because I'm quite proud of it. So that's there. And I've updated the Pokédex, so you can have a look at the Pokédex if you want. So this was the Pokédex the last time you would have seen it. Okay, you can't see the poll options anymore, but I feel like most of you would have made a choice already. So that was it last time you saw it. As you can see, we had already like chewed through most of Gen 2 there, but this is what it looks like now. So yeah, we still have a couple of little coming soon banners in the mix there, and I actually think I'm missing a couple as well. Yeah, I'm missing the little banners for Wooper and a couple of the others that I owe you guys. I can't remember oh, yeah. Ironically, Ladybug also as well. But we are down to just 10 remaining. So that is the most up-to-date Pokédex I have at the moment. I thought you guys would just appreciate the update. So it's the before and the after, and we're looking pretty full. It looks like everyone has voted. Thank you, Yellow Fan. I will come back and finish that off. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how all that's trucking along. Looks like everyone's voted. Let's close this poll off. It is getting so full, and I am so pleased with it, because it'd be nice to get like Gen 2 up on the wall pretty soon as well. Oh wow. So yeah, we had 68% vote for option 1. And then it was a 2-way tie. 16% voted for 2 and 3. So you guys have chosen door number 1 in our prehistoric theming. Let us reveal who is behind the door, and I think you guys would know already. So our first prehistoric entry is Crochet. And not only because he looks like a literal Flintstones reference, I forgot to make the thing bigger. I'm so sorry. 1 second while I find where that button is. Not only because it's it looks literally Flintstones themed, but also it's a crocodile. It's like been around here for a while, and crocodile. Rawr. We'll soon have some friends for the Gen 3s, maybe. Yeah, it is also very pretty blue. It's like, yeah, no. Oh, that's right, we're going to name him Yeah, no. And I think we have a skateboard here. We do. Haha. We've got the we've got the Yaenor skateboard. Alright, let's minimize that. The Yaenor skateboard. Let's get the count up on the screen. Why does everything feel just like slightly in the wrong spot to me right now? Because technically everything is exactly where I left it. This is our 91st Gen 2 Pokemon, leaving just 9 remaining when we're done. We need the sprite up on the screen as well. There you are, looking noble and majestic and whatnot. And I have been trying for a while to get Yaenor. To be picked, and I'm glad that he has finally come up in the options. So let's see. One thing I will also add for your benefit here is the names of the other 2 that we have already made, and we have made. Do I really need to see Gen 1? No, I don't. Okay, we named Totodile Dundee, and we named for alligator the Gator Boy. And we have a tentative name here for Croconaw that is Yaenor. So you guys can come up with 3 other options, but Yaenor has been previously voted in as one of them. And we're gonna make our little crocodile here. Just nobody smile at him. There are rules about that sort of thing. It is quite a lot of jaw you've got going there, sir. And his teeth stick out at quite strange angles, don't they? Because he's got one out this way and one out this way. They'll just be embroidered on, of course. Never noticed how punk he looks? He's a little punk. He was a gator boy. He said, "See you later, boy." Exactly. The 3 shapes on his shirt are all different shapes. Hooray for me. Oh, let me open Discord so that I can get my reference images from all of you. Oh, I don't even have it to open. Discord. Your kiddo finally got Pocopia, so you're getting a running commentary of that while the stream is going. See, that's fun. That sounds like fun. No foot pads, 5 fingers. That at least matches for Alligator, who also had like 5 long, clacky fingernails. 3 toes, 5 fingers is like a thing this season. Gen. Alright, and that. Attention everyone, it is Croconora Thursday. Excellent. Alright. So that mouth will be staying firmly shut. I am not dealing with that. He does have a little nostril. He does have kind of a triangle type eye. I can't remember, did we use safety eyes for the previous ones? I feel like we might have. Okay, why does that look so wrong? Oh well. I like how much detail I'm putting into the head without having put even a base shape in for the body yet, but we'll get there in a second. There we go. And just kind of a chubby little guy, really. Little diamond on his tail. It looks like he's got 2 spikes down his spine. Like, hypothetically. They're kind of covered up in the profile pic that we're looking at there. Yeah, he has a tooth facing backwards on his cheek. He does. It's weird. It's weird. It's odd. It's him, though. And I'm tempted to mitten these hands. But we'll see what size he ends up coming out before I make that final decision. This is like a swoosh. Because goodness knows it couldn't be a straight line. That'd be just too helpful for us, wouldn't it? Oh, after all that, I knocked the dang skateboard over. Fine. Just like giant paddly feet. And another another one here. And the feet are all blue. We've got no toe beans confirmed because we can see the soles of both feet in this sprite. Drew that one down a little bit far. And then he's got the shapes on his toga. Any shapes on the back of the toga? So it's strictly an at the front thing. Thank you to everyone who's helping by sharing these images through. It is very, very helpful in the endeavor just to have as like many different views as possible. Saves us a lot of pain in the long run if we just kind of work out already what he looks like. Right, I drew the shape of this triangle the wrong way. Should be more like this. One tooth, two tooth, and nothing but the whole tooth. There we go. Yeah. Now, technically that line shouldn't exist, but I think you'll all forgive me. So those will have to be three just different shapes. Don't know if we crochet them or if we just stitch them on. I've had quite a bit of success recently in just stitching stuff on, like Miltank if she's around. She's behind the sign, it's fine. Miltank, I stitched all of her weird back shapes on by hand, and I think it worked pretty well. And it's been a long time since we made for alligator now. It probably actually hasn't even been that long, but it feels like a long time since we made for alligator. So we'll be making up all of our techniques from scratch here too. He's got a spike behind there that we can't see. So there's our boy. I fear I have made him a little too elongated. I want to smush him down a little bit. He does look like he's dressed as he's dressed as Fred Flintstone, right? But I have a very short list of the final 10. And an even shorter list still of ones that must be out of the way before the final stream for that gen. And this one here, I just can't have come up there because he's going to be too hard, and I just already know that I'm going to have to stop at some point and be like, you know what, I'll do the rest of this one off stream. And I hate doing that for the final Pokemon in a gen, because if I learned nothing from Gyarados, or if I learned something from Gyarados, it's that, you know what, you don't leave Gyarados till last. You just don't do it. Alright, what do you look like from the front? You're a good image for that. All jaw, no gnaw. It's going to be a challenge just because it's kind of pretty unfamiliar shape. I think we do have to layer up this face though. Like make a head base piece and then attach the jaw afterwards. This body is kind of obnoxious too, with this whole like blue swoosh across a yellow toga, but you technically kind of want the toga layered on top. And hey, those spots totally look like skulls. Like skull and bones, because like from the front it's like this. We can still see me? We can still see me. Excellent. Nailing this. We've got the swoosh of the toga, and then it's kind of got one giant eye orbital socket thing, one that kind of breaks into the line of the toga itself, that should be slightly higher, and then a triangle nose. Don't tell me that's not evoking a sense of the skull. Current name list: yeah, no, Fred, Orthodontist, and Tony Croc. That pencil sharpener was like a brain itch, hopefully in a good way. You don't like how his mouth opens? That's fine, we're gonna do it shut. Oh, Tony Croc, like Tony Hawk. I get it. Okay, but how we're actually going to break this down. That's a side view. Oh, I like the side view. That's actually really helpful. I'm going to try and build the head and body into one piece. I think that's the easiest way for me to approach this. I'm just going to let myself free range across the page here. So, like, that's the top of the head. We'll flare out to try and capture part of this snoot, but it's not the end of the world if I have to make the snoot as a separate piece. And he's kind of straight down. He's a no-booty dinosaur. He's got a little bit of egginess to the front of him, but he's generally just a no-booty dinosaur. And then he has like a jaw that attaches, but we'll worry about that later. The jaw kind of goes... Have not left enough distance here. This will need to start earlier. that's better. Okay, so that's the shape we're making. Do I want to build the whole toga separate? Because I definitely don't want to do all of this as color changes. That's not how this is going to work at all. The toga swoops down across multiple rows, which is really obnoxious. It's so obnoxious. I think we have to layer up that piece as well, and that way I can just make it as a regular cup, but like tilt it when I go to attach it, I think is my shortcut there. So the plan here is to do this whole thing in blue, undercut the jaw a little bit so that there's room to attach the overall piece, and that's good. Arms are stubs that can count. Feet are absolute little nuggets directly behind the profile pic, but I noticed you could pick a fight with Ladybug. Okay. And tail. It's cone. These little red spiky bits, I think for alligator we did them as like 2 layers that I sewed together. I'm happy to do that again that way today. The one thing I kind of really have to solve before I can get started here is, how am I doing this eyeball? I'm going to actually pull up the Pokédex, and we're going to have a quick little look at what I did. Okay, it looks like I used safety eyes. Alright, I can use safety eyes again. That's going to fundamentally change the nature of the eyeball, but I think you guys will be okay with that. Yes. Yes. Oh, bye Andromeda! Thank you for hanging out though, a little bit. I understand that we're at an unusual time today. So, I have some ideas straight in my head about what we're going to do here. Let's pull out the colours that we use for Alligator. I know you can't see my screen at the moment. That's because I'm using the Pokédex as a little bit of a reference point for what colours we've used in the past. But I have my iceberg ready to go. I have my pale yellow ready to go. And I'll turn the Pokédex off in a second, I promise. I just need to try and locate that berry colour. I think it's the same one as I have in here for Entei. But it might be a slightly deeper tone, but I can always dig him out of the bag that he's in later and double check that, but I think that's it. There's actually surprisingly a lot of pinks that are all right around the same shade. There we go. So, pretty pleased with that colour lineup. And the one we need the most today, you may notice I'm procrastinating just a little bit, and that's because I haven't crocheted in like, golly, it's since last stream really. And I always reach this state of just like, do I remember how? Do I really want to find out publicly? Smoky eye? Yeah. Juicy color. Yeah, very juicy colors. But they're like cool, crisp colors as well. So let me just write this down as head. Magic ring 6, and then we'll go up to 12, and y'all cannot let me supersize this fellow. He has to fit neatly between Totodile and Feraligatr. So he has to be basically this size. And away we go. There we go. Alright, I'm tuned back into chat now, so we'll be chatting a little bit more. I'm going to stop alternating between whispering and projecting. It has been a lovely but long couple of days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I think I've spoken more in the last 48 hours than I have in a very long time. So forgive me if my voice just gives up halfway through. I also didn't bring any hydration in with me, and I don't think I've had a lick of water in 3 days. It's a miracle I'm still kicking. What's the theme? The theme is kind of sort of prehistoric. He's a prehistoric gothic skater with heavy black eyeshadow. Yeah, he's a punk rock croc. You like how he kind of has Feraligatr's jaw already? He just hasn't grown into it yet? Yeah, exactly. But he still has all of the sass of Schneeschnei Schnappy. What's his name? The chompy one. He who nips in the night. What's his Totodile, thank you. No, don't hydrate. I will do my best. Yes, all of you should also hydrate given half the chance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not what that is at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, cool. We've reached 12 and I am going up to 18. Because apparently I have no shame or self-control. 1, 2, 3. Well, hi. Hydration. Look at this hydration. It's fancy.
It also contains a rock.
It does. It's hydration with a rock, and that's how you know that you've made it in life, is if your drink has rocks in it. We're talking about ice cubes. Yeah, I actually really needed that. I'm sorry if that made gross noises in the microphone. That was unexpected. I thought I was going to have a really nice, polite little slurp of that, but it's gone. The names of his family are... I read them out already. I'm trying really hard to remember them, though, but I'm just going to riff while I do. The little one is Dundee, and the big one is Gator Boy, because we already had kind of a skating theme. We have soft-launched the name Yeah Nor for this guy. But I'm happy to also just have whatever other suggestions you guys have as well. You remember when I used to have streaming snacks? Yeah, but that, like, I felt really self-conscious just chewing on camera. Because, like, I find that mouth noises are really yucky, and I didn't want to do that to other people. Also, I found that, like, eating sugary anything in the middle of stream was a really fast way to have me end stream early, because I just needed a nap. You're out of gas in your spicy water making machine. Oh no! Your water! She has no bubbles! That's rough. To be fair, I do kind of still have streaming snacks. It's just I eat them during break instead. And they look more like a sandwich. Oh, crikey's fun. Crikey's fun for a croc. I assume we are talking fizzy water. Yeah, alright, I know I have already made a grave mistake. But I think it might be too late to save me. You can save yourselves, though. There's always time to save yourselves. Okay. That's 18 around. Do we start working the nose now? No, we go one more row around, I think. One more row around. I just turned into healthier. Like... yeah, healthier, less visible snacks, usually. Sometimes it's a fistful of crisps. Someone somewhere ate pineapple lumps for a video, and apparently you associate... You know what? Okay, a long time ago, Coletti Spaghetti, I distinctly remember on stream having a little bit of a rant about pineapple lumps, and I haven't thought about them since. I kind of remember if I was for or against them. I just remember feeling very strong feelings about them. But yeah, I don't mind the odd pineapple lump. Okay, got to stop and write some notes down. Very good. Alright, we have to start building that schnoz out now, because he has quite a distinctive one. In fact, I'm going to have to, like, really, like, wah, like a boy moose. Wah. Let's try 8 single crochet and see how we feel about it. We're going to go with vibes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Now we build the nose. tot him. I'm seeing requests to both tot and megapod. So hopefully I come out in between and make him the perfect size. Right? That's how this works. It's your first knowledge of their existence and you've wanted to try them ever since. Yeah, fair enough. It's one of those candies that it's real easy to forget that they exist. Four, 5, 6, 7, and I apparently can't count at all. So this should hypothetically be up to 22 stitches at this point. But we've got a little bit of a nose starting to poke out one side. Mega tot! 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and we have the right count. I just could not count all as I kind of off-ramped that particular row. Around we go again. Once again, growing that nose. Is mega tot when you use inspiration on a disadvantaged roll so it equals out? You know what, that's pretty accurate. You returned to your normal workplace recently and they suddenly have DCC stocked. Yay! So now you're peddling it to everyone who so much as glances at the DCC book display. Good, you are doing the right thing. I approve this. It's like I feel like I've been a cheerleader for that series for so long now. It's really cool that everyone's getting on board. 2, 3, one more. And that might have to be as far out as this nose goes. Because if the nose goes all the way to the toes, what might happen? Who knows? Is it okay to rhyme nose with nose if one is N-O-S-E and one is K-N-O-W-S? I do have to get out there and purchase my physical copy of Parade of Horribles though. Haven't done that yet. I have got the Audible version, and I technically have an ebook from the Patreon, but I need my hard copy to go with the others on the shelf. Unfortunately, my shelf won't fit that book on that shelf with it. I'm going to have to find a bigger shelf. We have to buy a house so that I can have a library. Okay, that might be even too much of a nose. But no, he has a nose. He has a lot of nose. He knows not. He knows. Stop. Just stop that. Just roll up the newspaper, bat myself on the face. The nose. We're at 26 stitches around. And I'm going to calm down. Okay, I'm going to calm down. Stream of consciousness is a little kiki instead of being all nice and boba for you. Shrinking Scrappy from the Scooby-Doo live action is mega tot? Yes, I agree. He is nosy. He's very nosy. Here we go. Think it's acceptable in writing, less so in words. Okay, so it's a visual rhyme, not an audible rhyme. That is acceptable. Fair enough. I accept these terms. Mini morphs. I have ideas. I have an idea for this week that I'm not going to talk about just yet, but I'm going to put all the pieces in place and hopefully film tomorrow for Thursday. And I've got a big project planned for the last week of June, because I get 2 weeks to work on that one there, so it gets to be bigger. And I'm trying really hard to use the 1 hour, 10 hour, 100 hour format for it. But I'm going to change it up just a little bit in the sense that I'm going to use consecutive hours instead of project hours. So rather than working on a thing for 100 hours, rather I'm going to give myself 100 hours from now to get it done, including sleep breaks. So I think that will give me the ability to get it done in time, and I've just wanted to revisit the 1 versus 10 versus 100 concept ever since we made Albert. So I have my idea. My goodness, I might actually have to do a yarn run now that I'm thinking about the colours involved. I definitely don't have enough in stock, but that's my plan. But first we have to get through this week, which is still a video that I think is going to be pretty good, and it's going to bridge a gap currently for me, and should be kind of fun. But I have to kind of control myself and keep things on the normal edge of things instead of on the crazy edge of things. I hate how this is turning out. I think this is not turning out right. Like, maybe if I was making a supersized bag on, but like this isn't meant to be bag on. He's meant to have a much smaller little nose. We're going back. We're going back. This is going terribly. He's going to have just a little nose. We'll just see how we feel about it then. Happy time zone, Nikki. Nicked? Too much nose. I agree. I agree. Even the raccoon enlarging one was fun. I agree on that one, yeah. Making things bigger is so much fun because then it makes me crave tiny details, which shoves me back into a making things smaller pathway. At some point I would love to use my shaping for making tiny and like details type stuff for making tiny itty bitty things and apply that level of detail to something big. Because, like, I'd still love to make a giant sky whale at some point with just, like, the coral reef embroidered all over its back. I just think it would be so pretty and so cool. But I look at it and I recognize it for the 1,000 hours of work that it is in a skill set that I'm not already familiar with. So it'll be a full learning journey, which does add time to it. Like, if I was already proficient in embroidery, then it would shorten it dramatically, probably. But it's still, like, a labor of love. So... In the meantime, we kind of try and, like, you know how if you're craving potato chips, but all you have in the house are spuds, you make some roast potatoes and you kind of try and get something adjacent to the thing that you're craving. It's like, it's kind of that. It's kind of that. But we're craving, like, ridiculously embroidered sky whales, and we're getting by with the project that is not yet named. Okay, much better. Much better. Crossing out some rows. Adding some notes. So we've done 2 rows since then. Yeah, giant sky whale, right? So like, with the giant sky whale tail. Oriented correctly, but with like multiple fins coming off, and then the top of this is just like all like rocky reef and pretty, and he's got his eye right where his eyeball should be, and like that's the way it should be as well, and the fins are nice, and you've got just like all sorts of like intricate beautiful stuff all over the top of him, building up to like a little blowhole, right? The whale noises really add to it. It's important. It's part of the process. You would borrow him for a D&D campaign as the party transport? Oh no, I would make him way too big for you to comfortably transport on a train. Thank you to everybody whale noising along with me. 6. Do I start closing off the little snoot? I think I might. It feels very early to do so though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Which would mean and 9 takes out that one. I could do 2 decreases and then 9 again. Yeah. Which brings us to 20, which is not a bad place to be. But 2 decreases there looks wrong. Are we sure that we've counted correctly? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then 2 decreases will pull us all the way off. Not happening. Not happening. 10. That's better. Okay, so we've just drifted 1 stitch. That's to be understood. I drift one stitch for every 3 rows. It is a known phenomena of my work, and normally normally I adjust for it. So this is me adjusting for it. His nose is going to feel a little bit shallow because I'm giving myself just leeway to make the jaw require stuffing and not lay flat over a blue underbase piece. It'll give me more room to move regarding its shaping. So theoretically, a whale video would involve a lot of whale noises. I might exclusively narrate a whale video in whale noises. But that's, my goodness, that's an idea from a few years ago, whereas like I was so in love with it and I spoke about it at length, and I think I might have even shared the sketches on Patreon at one point with like, look what I'm excited about. But it was not a realistic vision. Particularly as I think I might have even still been working full time at that point, so definitely not a realistic vision. And it's not even realistic now unless I took the whole month off, and I don't really want to do that because it has horrible ramifications for my abilities to pay my bills. So, Sky Whale is just a little, sort of like one of those pipe dreams. Someday Sky Whale. Maybe once I've retired and I'm only like doing this for fun and leisure. 14, 15, 16, 17. Ooh, gross. Why did I do that to myself? That's fine. It needed to happen. Sometimes gross things need to happen. Hello. Hello. It's Thursday. And I refuse to do multi-part series as well as the other side of it. Right now, anyway. Maybe some point I'll do like a vlog style series following along my crafting of my enormous sky whale. But I feel like for that, it would have to be big enough to be a spectacle, which means I would need a staircase. Right? Okay. Right. Imagine for a second, if you will, that I had a staircase in my hypothetical 2-story house. I don't have a 2-story. I live in an apartment. But one day I might have a staircase, and maybe that staircase has like one of those like big air vacuums over the top of the staircase as you move from one room to the other, and I can make a giant sky whale to live in that staircase so that you, as you're climbing, you see the underneath of the sky whale, and as and as you're above it, you can look down and see all of the little details on the sky whale. It's like at that point when we're making sky whale, I might take a month or two and we can do like a multi-part vlog series of the making and the suspension of this sky whale. But until that day, sky whale is going on. You finally figured out how to get rid of the D in your name, so you have been Nikki this whole time. I am so sorry for always calling you Nicked. I wondered, but then sometimes it's better just to go with what's explicitly on the screen. Hello to Lauren's chaotic mind. Welcome to the hive. Dreams, exactly, dreams. Okay, alright, okay. Again, I know that this nose is looking a little dainty for the schnoz in question, but if you picture it as having like the big cheek parts here and giving a little bit more depth, this is actually looking relatively proportionate with what we have in mind. So I'm going to go one row down, 17 stitches around, so I have kind of flubbed the proportions a little bit, but it's okay. Do need to remember to snap eyes on though. I'm sure I won't forget. There's no precedent in me forgetting, is there? Suspending the sky whale sounds like a chaotic endeavor, and I'd absolutely watch it. That's what I mean. It's like to make that whole thing work the way I would want it to, I would need to like whole butt it I don't want to use the phrase I actually use in case we try and keep things pretty clean around here. But like, you know what I mean? It's just like not half buttock, whole buttock. And that would involve needing to make it of a size that would take many moons to finish, and then the embroidery on top would take many moons again, and then the actual logistical nightmare that would be the internal structure and the suspension of this thing in like in a stairwell. That's a whole thing on its own. Hi.
Those are all very valid arguments.
Okay.
However,
Sky whale.
Put lights into it and check Discord.
Which channel?
All the way down.
To shreds, you say? But you wouldn't be able to see the top, which is where I would be putting all of the embroidery.
It's okay, we'll just do it on like a area where we have like a second floor, so
That's,
it's like floating in the middle of the room.
That's exactly my point.
Yeah, exactly that, but with lights in it. So
yeah.
The lights coming out, like you get like glowing fungus on the bottom of the whale.
Why fungus?
Because I was sorry.
No,
this whole time I was picturing a giant slice of bread.
you put pop lights in and make them look like barnacles.
Yeah, glowing barnacles hanging out the bottom. Perfect.
He was like, honey, could you turn on the barnacle lights? Thanks.
Yeah, perfect. You're laughing. I'm not. This sounds great.
Okay, I want you all to just wipe from your memory the assortment of sounds I just made, because not all of them were voluntary. I love that Mr. Bones is still steadfastly pitching his mouldy slice of bread. It's just like, it's not going to be anywhere near as interesting as he thinks it's going to be. How did we get here? Are we comfortable now that we're here? 15. 15! 15's way better number. Hey, hun, can you flip on the fungus lights? Yeah, thanks. Nah, to make them solar powered. So the fungus just glows at night. It's bioluminescent algae. Need to be commissioned by State Art Gallery or something, making a giant sculptural installation. Yeah, honestly, yeah, maybe. Still, it's a lot of work for something I would love and never be able to have in. I mean, honestly, there's barely enough room for what I currently do in this apartment. But we have just the right amount of space right now. For that, I would need an excessive space, or at minimum a garage to store it in. Also, the idea of keeping it dust-free gives me the heebles and the jeebles. Whale chandelier. Yeah, exactly. The bread represents decay. The framing of it or presenting it as a feature demonstrates that a symbol of decay can be beautiful. I am a skeleton. I can be pretty. Yeah, honey, you're very pretty. No one's saying you're not pretty. Eagle ironic? I haven't, but thank you for putting Mr. Bones onto that, because maybe it'll scratch this itch of his. Did I just do a row 15? I did. My goodness. Increase and then 4. Mr. Bones just wants a large slice of bread crocheted. Wait, no, I actually want that one now. Wait, no, lol. Honestly, the idea of like a giant slice of bread, like cartoon fun bread, as like a couch cushion, and then do beads so that it's like a piece of fairy bread. You guys know fairy bread. You take a piece of the whitest bread you can find, the soft white bread that may as well not even be bread anymore. It's basically just cake. And though I will say that Australian bread isn't as sweet, I don't think, as bread from some other places. It has to have its crust still on, and then you slather it with butter, and then you dip it in hundreds and thousands, which are these tiny little round crunchy rainbow sprinkles. And I feel like that could look really cool with just like lots of little tiny seed beads sewn onto a cushion, and you just have fairy bread cushions. We do already have an anglerfish lamp. It should be on camera up there somewhere. Yeah, it's there. It's poking out. Like sometimes it's, I admit I am very creaturey in what I like. So like, while I can see the vision of this and I know how I would go about making it if I wanted it, I just don't feel the need to have it. Whereas like, giant whale, sky whale. Sky whale. You have a fairy bread cross stitch? That's fun. Oh, you know what I would love? This might be, I don't know how niche of a pull this is, but if any of you have ever played a game called Children of Mortar, they have the most beautiful pixel art, particularly in like their house. And I can't even find high-res images of the artwork that they used. If I could, I would translate it myself. But it's like, it would turn out enormous, but it's like one of the few times I've encountered artwork in a game where I'm like, I would spend 2,000 hours casually crocheting that or even diamond painting that and hang it on my wall. It's just like, I tend to not be someone who feels the need to like fly the flag of their fandoms. Pokemon sitting behind me to one side, even that's not like in my house, whereas like this Children of Mortar artwork is so pretty. Salted butter. Now, Coletti spaghetti, some people would disagree with me, but the salt makes everything better. If you're making chocolate chip cookies, for example, you got to use salted butter in your baking. The salt makes a difference. Guess you'd have to really plan the sky whale stuffing too. If it's huge and needs to be hangable, yeah, I would probably have to like sculpt some sort of internal stuffing mechanic there, and it probably would have to have like a proper like wooden, possibly even metal internal structure to hold all of the bits, possibly wiring, and so that it could be suspended correctly without like warping or distorting. There's like a whole lot of like structural stuff that goes into those thoughts. And honestly, you cannot tell when I've been watching too much Nerdforge. Yeah, always subtle. We don't buy unsalted butter here. Now, Mr. Bones makes some of our butter these days, but we add salt to it. So even the butter we make is salted butter. Okay, and around we go again. He's back up to 18 stitches, if anyone's keeping track. Seven. You get really confused when recipes call for unsalted butter and salt. I can maybe help with that confusion because it's kind of like a recipe calling for butter and milk. So butter is basically just milk fats, and milk already has milk fat in it. It's just you need a different ratio of milk fat to milk to the milk liquid, buttermilk, than you can get from just using regular milk. You need more of the milk fats, and so you put butter in as well. And so like when a recipe calls for unsalted butter and then additional salt, it tends to be because they want to recommend a very specific amount of salt to maintain a ratio in a recipe, and just using regular salted butter might throw that ratio off a little bit. Now, this is coming from somebody who has been baking basically my entire life, but I'm not particularly good at it. I'm just very enthusiastic, and I like to think that I make things that taste pretty good. I have never needed to get to that level of pedanticness when it comes to how salty or not something is. I just use the salted butter. Don't forget the eyes. Thank you very much. I probably would have. I don't even have them out on the table right now. In fact, I should probably stop for a second and work out where they're going to go, because it is lengthening. And I do think that I'm probably going to have to stop and make the jaw before I can lock the eyes in as well. So we're going to just hop around a little bit. Let's see how things go. I should probably... No, you know what? I have at least this many eyes left. So that's at least enough to finish Gen 2 and get us a chunk of the way through Gen 3. You have to use Nuttelex butter. I was raised with Nuttelex. I use like butter now because of Mr. Bones, but I was raised dairy-free. It doesn't have the salt content of butter that you like. Yeah, so you would add additional salt. You an ambush predator? I feel like that's the wrong spot for ambush predator eyes. But the eyes we're using are already like bigger and doofier than the ones on the sprite. Cause, okay, that's actually a lot more crocodilian, but it looks funny. But yeah, the Children of Mortar art, I see you looked it up. It's beautiful. But it's surprising to me that you just can't find a lot of stills of it anywhere. Yeah, it's baffling, frankly, because like it would make the most beautiful diamond art. And it's one of the few images that I would be like, you know what, yeah, okay, I will make this and I will put it on my wall. Huh. I did not know that about kosher salt. They mean salt with bigger, coarser grains. Is it kind of like a Himalayan sea salt type of thing? Fancy salt? Yeah, I will try my best to give his eyes the details they're supposed to have. I think I'm going to pause and... because I think these will end up moving around a little bit more. And I'm going to pause and make the jaw, or at least have an attempt at the jaw before we continue on making the head and body. Because like from here, he just kind of blobs out a little bit and closes off. And we can't do that until we have the eyes in place, and we can't do that until we have the jawbone. So when, like, if you were following this pattern later, you'd make one piece and then the other piece and it wouldn't be a big deal. For me, I gotta do things out of order. It happens sometimes. Yeah, for the lactose intolerance thing, I was lactose intolerant growing up on a dairy farm, and my options were soy milk, because other lactose-free milks weren't a thing. There was soy milk and there was almond milk, and I was allergic to nuts. And Nuttalex was the spread that you could use. Which is particularly funny when you know that butter is Mr. Bones' favourite food. So, I have an interesting... I honestly, I could probably Google this later, but I'm here and we're talking about kosher salt anyway. Does it have the iodine content in it that regular table salt does? Because ours is like iodized salt here. I'm assuming that that's kind of a ubiquitous thing. That surely isn't something that just Australia has made up. I don't know how I'm gonna make you. And I'm the one person who needs to know. Okay, alright. Alright, okay. No, I've got a plan. We'll see how we go. Don't know if this is the right choice. Whenever you're going to put safety eyes in, you wonder which side of the backing's supposed to go. Or Andy, honestly, I use them both ways, and I don't think it makes a huge difference one way or the other. If I know it's going to be for someone who has really small kids, I tend to curve them inwards, so like eyeball goes in here to get that like deep inset. If you've got any eyes that like are meant to be quite deep and inset, doing them that way there can get you that little bit more like of a sunken look. However, if you're not sure about your eye placement and it's just for you, this way with the eye stem going in through here can be a lot easier to remove the backs of again if you put them in the wrong spot, and a lot easier if your knuckle joints happen to be hurting that day. Not sure if that's something you guys suffer with, but it's something that gets me sometimes. Standard in the US as well. Good to know. All right, I was wondering about that. Sometimes I'll like casually mention something like a kettle and think it's normal, and turns out it's not normal, and it's given me a little bit of a complex about just assuming things are the same way that they are everywhere, because they're not. Wouldst thou like a taste of butter? Like I said, Mr. Bones makes butter now, and it's pretty good. Alright, so that would go there. And we need to curve it up the jawriest of lines now. 4 increases, and then we'll turn, because that's the only way we know how to do the thing we need to do. Oh, we kind of need to like not slope it upwards yet. We kind of need to like hold the line a little bit. So we'll do that. I'm going to do that nasty thing. Well, not nasty thing. I'm going to do that tricky thing where I insert my hook from... I'm working with it back to front, so I'm working my hook from the other side of it to keep my stitches all loosely looking like they're facing the same way. Makes no difference to the shape of the piece, not really. but impacts the look of the stitches themselves. And it's just a neat little trick that I pull out sometimes when I can be bothered. I've just realised now as well that I've clearly thrown out the idea of building the toga in at all, because we've already clearly continued past the point the toga would be attached, so... Did I make a bink sound? So you said you like the sound that I make, and I'm not self-conscious about that. I'm a little self-conscious about the fact that I don't remember making a sound. But sure, cool, awesome, happy to help. I don't know if our tablespoons are different size, but I think our cups, there's a difference between cup sizes, as in like measuring cups, which is why I prefer to, when I write recipes, I write them by weight. Hi, Era. Thanks for popping in to say hi. I hope you have a good day at work. Skeleton butter. It rattles his bones but keeps everything moving smoothly. Does this even 8 stitches? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, this is only 7 stitches. What? How did that go that wrong then? No, that's... There we go. Much better. Sounds like butter. Yes, tablespoons and other culinary measures units can vary around the world. Yeah, and it also helps with the fact that I tend to sub oat flour in for wheat flour in most baking things, and you can. It's a straight up swap, but it's by weight, not by. I don't know if volume or mass is the word I'm looking for here, but like you can't replace 1 cup of wheat flour with 1 cup of oat flour, but you can replace 90 grams of wheat flour with 90 grams of oat flour. At least the way I use it, you can. Please don't use that in a make or break scenario without checking it for yourself. I believe you. I believe you that I was like Bink. It sounds like me. I just don't remember doing it. You have a recipe that initially said 2 tablespoons of an ingredient in the beta testing, and after a whole lot of international failures, it was amended to 8 tablespoons? Or 8 teaspoons. Unless that's a typo too. But in any case, that's a big difference. Okay, so we've got the start of a grouchy little jaw happening. Rawr. He's just a poor boy from a poor family. Yeah, that. And now we just need to do like a little bit of a... We didn't really bring it in enough on each edge. I'm kind of wanting to go back a little bit maybe. Sorry about the equivocation, folks. I'm doing a little bit, maybe possibly too much thinking. Not enough stitching. But I feel like if I can just bring those sides in a little bit, we'll get a better shape out of it. It's one of the fussier shapes on this fellow. Now I have to rewatch, I do. 2, 3, and 4. Would you please? Thank you. To make me pull out the would you kindly. Give everybody trauma. Okay, so I'm liking that. It's just missing its little jaw floopy doopy doos. Do I do it as a separate piece? No, I don't really want to do it as a separate piece. Let's chain up, chain up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think 3 will be plenty. And we'll go, we kind of want it to be quite big. Will a single crochet be big enough? Honestly, I kind of want it to be at least a half double. So we'll go half double and then we'll single across. We'll see how we go. So 8 teaspoons is 40 mil, 2 US tablespoons is 30 mil, 2 Australian tablespoons is 40 mil. Okay. Why aren't we all united in our measurements? We can't agree on anything. True, but like communication can help avoid disaster. So it's like as long as we're all communicating that we don't use the same words for different, for this, like we use the same words for different things, we're okay. It's why things like garlic and anything that brings flavor to a meal, it's like I find that with baking, and I suppose it's the same with cooking, but I won't say that I'm a good cook. I'm a pretty good baker. But like with baking, a lot of it is just understanding what role each ingredient is actually playing in a recipe, and then you know how to like fiddle with it a little bit. Like for example, all right, here's one that I haven't tested yet, but it's one that I found out recently. So almond flour, right? It's ground up almonds, but almonds are kind of oily. And so it's like an oily type of flour, so it's taking the role of both an oil and the flour component in, which is the structure component in a dish. So you can't just straight swap it with something like oat flour, which I feel like I've spoken about a lot today. I feel like I've used that phrase a lot. Because oat flour isn't oily at all. But you can substitute almond flour for oat flour with a small component of oil to it. So it's like basically, I think it's like 1 tablespoon per cup of oat flour or something like that. I haven't checked any of that yet. But it's like the same thing as being able to replace eggs and butter in a recipe with vinegar and baking soda in a recipe. It's like you get the lift, or the binding, or like what each thing is doing something in the recipe. And if it's something that's only there to add flavor, you have a lot of flexibility with how you adjust it. So I don't even remember what I was talking about. But I'm sure I had a good and interesting point. Thank you for listening. Spokesperson of oat flour, right? Come on, Uncle Toby's, cut me a deal. Ah, we knew what you meant. If Australia was colonised by the UK, why are their spoons different sizes? Because we're their offshore prison. We had to make things up as we went. Oh, well, he looks happy. It's not quite as beefy as I want it to be. I don't really want to go back one more row, but I think I have to. Okay, 6, and then we chained 3 and turn, and then we did a H double crochet and a single crochet, and then we're going to work 6 slip stitches across just to be as small and secret as possible. And we're going to whammy it up with 2 single crochet. Oh no, then I have to go back to do it to the other side as well. I don't want to do it to the other side as well. I'm going to stop rubbing at my face. I'm sorry, everybody. Why are humans so good at never reaching 100% support, agreement, approval on anything? There's always a 10th dentist. That's actually, okay, that's actually a really interesting thing. Don't know where I picked this up from, but there is an idea that if there are 10 people in a room whose job it is to discuss a subject, it is, and 9 people agree on the answer, it is actually the responsibility of the 10th person in the room to disagree, to make sure that all sides of the issue are actually being discussed properly. CK, thank you for coming to my TED Talks. Exactly. So yeah, there should always be a 10th dentist, just to make sure that you are actually properly examining the subject, properly sitting with the uncomfortable question. Because like it's real easy for everybody to just agree on, hey, yeah, let's do this, but did we actually think about it first? Yeah. No, thank you. Because the one person who disagreed didn't eat the red berries. What's that phrase? And they're about to experience...
They're about to experience natural selection.
Natural selection, that's the one. Oh, sorry. The dentist thing, for anyone who wasn't, I guess, growing up here in Australia, it used to be like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend brushing your teeth after every meal. Or 9 out of 10 dentists recommend toothpaste. It's like, why doesn't the 10th dentist? And it's because the 10th dentist's job is to say, hang on, have we really looked at this? How many mil in a teaspoon? Isn't it like 7.5, something like that? 15? 15. It's written on my teaspoons. I don't need to know it. Okay, alright, here's the thing. This is too unfinished of a flap. This one here is at least properly anchored. I'm going to work a couple of stitches to just finish anchoring this in, but you should know that I'm not pleased about it. That's fine. It's fine. I'm not pleased, but it's fine. 1, 2, and then I'll do a little slip stitch just to try and smooth it off. We have a jawbone, everybody! No, I mean the question of it is uncomfortable. Colette, I'm afraid I don't necessarily understand your question. I like my dentist. Anesthesia doesn't work on me very well. Or anesthetic or whatever. The numbing stuff wears off me really fast. But I still like my dentist. He does good work. I've had him do a lot of work over the years too. Okay, so hypothetically, this mouth chompy piece goes here. Are we happy and satisfied with the position of those eyes, or do we move them down? I think we move them down. They're pins, so I'm operating carefully here. Yay, now we can add the backs to the eyes. We can. Okay, I understand that this is meant to have more of a bit, but I just wasn't able to serve that. So we've gone with the suggestion of the bit, and we're okay with that, and we've made our choices, and I'm snapping the backs on. Yes, good, excellent. I love when we make choices together like this. Amy, we are on the first one. You metabolize anesthesia weird too. What have you done to be this? I have been told it's because of like I have Irish ancestry somewhere that must be relatively, I don't know. I've heard it is something to do with being Irish. But then I say that very hesitantly because you never really know what of those are actually just designed to be offensive, and I've just repeated one blindly. Know that I'm saying that with nothing but good intentions, knowing I have Irish ancestry. My stuffing is not in Benjamin. There is just a bunch of yarn in Benjamin. Mr. Bones, could you find where I've left my giant bag of stuffing? It's like, why is Benjamin full of yarn? Like, it's not a little bit either. It's quite a lot of yarn. He's just full of yarn. Have you been spinning my stuffing into yarn? I'll have to call him Spinjamin. Stuffing. This should get me started. Hi, Nicole. You could make it more thing when you sew. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and make it more thing when I sew it on. I agree. For the numbing paralyzes your face muscles way too much and takes ages to wear off. Yeah, so for me it takes ages to get numb, and then sometimes I don't stay numb, and I do not, my dentist is good at what he does, okay? He's good at what he does. This has nothing to do with that. But sometimes, like, I'll get like a weird numb spot on my face, and I'll just know that the anesthesia has worked its way into one of the nerves. Where did my stuffing go? It's free range. I must have been using it elsewhere. I actually don't even know where he found it. I just know that he managed to, which is like, hey, woo, huzzah, and so forth. Benjamin has become a spinster, bless him, indeed. Though I heard that there were other definitions as well, and spinster is just the first in a long line of absolutely amazing and hilarious titles that women could earn. We have stuffed your wee little noggin, and now I'm going to put your face back on. Are you ready? Like this I might end up giving like an extra little bit to, or it might end up staying that way. That's what's exciting about life. You never really know what your crochet is gonna do. That's what's exciting about life, apparently. Good job, mouth. Happy time zone, Amanda. I've put a big greasy smear right across the middle of my glasses. That is slightly better, but not really all the way better. I hope I like that eye placement because I'm beginning to feel strange about it even now. Yeah, we've tried having me come in early to get like numbed up ahead of time. We've tried just like doing like topping it up as we go, but in general, I'm fine if I can feel it a lot of the time. No, that's okay.
Hold still for a minute.
He's got his Windex out, that's all. Remember the raccoon that came to your house? Yeah, it visited your window. Oh, that's so cute. That's nice. I'm glad that I could. Yes. Like, I love the idea of raccoons. I'm kind of relieved I don't have to deal with them because they sound, frankly, like a lot. They sound like a lot. But yeah, I just think they're like, it's kind of like opossums. Like, we have possums, you guys have opossums. Sorry, this is me just lumping you all in as though you're all North American? I don't know. Which is likely not even close to being true. Particularly in this time zone. I don't even know which time zone I'm hitting now because it's not even my usual time zone. What am I even talking about? 21! Woo! You've never had to be numbed up at the dentist. You hope that's a good sign. I am impressed. I grew up on a rainwater tank and I've just abandoned the previous rant about opossums. I grew up on rainwater, which didn't have the fluoride component in it, which is what I'm blaming for the fact that my teeth are basically just dissolving around me. And so I've had a couple of root canals and a whole bunch of fillings, but I do my best. Dental hygiene is important, everybody. The good news is I don't have to have my wisdom teeth out because they're apparently very well behaved. So we'll take the wins where we can get them. They're little stinkers, but they hobble off adorably. Lol. I'm meaning raccoons. I'm just glad I don't have to deal with the question of is it cute or is it rabies? Rabies is not a funny subject. Not at all. I can't count, and it's causing me problems. A complicated knot story. That was my increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then this next one is an increase. No. This next one's a single crochet. This one's an increase. Okay, good. We're good. Oh, right. We're all good. We're fine. We're calibrated again. Sorry, guys. I know that the vibe of this stream has to just be all over the shop. But I want you for a second to think of a place that is approximately 3 hours away from where you are right now. Like just in a straight line, just 3 hours away. And that's where I was when I woke up this morning for me. Like in America, I'd be able to be like, I was across state lines or whatever. But here in Australia, we're huge. So really, I traveled a very small proportion of the state. But I was still 3 hours away in the same time zone, and it kind of takes a little bit of a toll on you. Just a little bit. It makes you slightly cuckoo. I've spoken to more people today than I normally speak to in a week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah. People talk about deadly Aussie animals, but at least we don't have rabies or bears. Yeah, no rabies, no bears. It's good. It's a fine deal. I will take the giant spiders any day. Don't have that many ticks either. That's not necessarily true depending on where you grew up. I grew up, again, next to a state forestry in a rural plot, and I got plenty of ticks. Kangaroo ticks are absolutely a thing. It's possibly out of the country for you. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm just like, you guys come up with your own relativity as to what 3 hours looks like, but that's where I was. And that's 3 hours at 100 kilometers an hour. So opossums are so cute. I think they're adorable, and I love any creature that its only defense mechanism is, oh no, I died. Like koala bears aren't bears. I hate to tell you, they are actually marsupials. I think they're marsupials, but I know they're definitely not bears. So calling them koala bears is actually a misnomer. But it's a mistake that a lot of people make. Like, just to clarify, not bears. The drop bears I will allow as an admission here, but I think that they are more like eldritch predator. Drop bears are still marsupials. There we go. That's why I was like, I know we don't have bears. Why don't I remember why drop bears aren't a thing? Sorry, my brain went, where bear? Over there bear. Oh, it's okay. Drop bears are just the scare bears. And that amused me more than it should have. That was my last increase. I should really move this. This is not a helpful location for my end of row marker, but we'll just bear with me for a second. Let's check you out. There's that, and there's that, and that. I think that's the last row there. The last stitch of the row there. It's a far more useful place to have a stitch marker. And then we're doing 2 and an increase. And then 4. 3 hours isn't even the next regional area. Exactly. It's the entire length of your country. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bear with me. Ah! You prefer a bear than mosquitoes? They are easier to spot. Yeah, but when mosquitoes snack on you, you recover afterwards. You get to stand up and walk away. Sorry, the question I wanted to ask then is decidedly territory I don't want to enter into on this stream. But let's just say we've established a hierarchy of needs between some creatures by establishing that mosquitoes are better than bears. As a Canadian, 3 hours would not even get you out of province unless you head south. Yeah, like, I'm not saying that it's an insurmountable distance. I'm just trying to illustrate the fact that I'm a little cuckoo pants because I've gone a bit of a... I was like, my ancestors were not prepared to travel this kind of distance and then talk to themselves. Yeah. I think that might be fat enough. I think we've buttered you up just nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. We're making him a little belly bulb, which I should possibly have made a little smaller than this actually if I'm fitting a whole piece over the top, but I will deal with that when I have to and not a moment before. Actually, I should probably just change to yellow at a certain point too. It would make my life a lot easier if I did. Don't know why I'm trying to convince myself while still stitching in the blue, because then I could just make the little arm piece. Yeah, we're going to change to yellow at the end of this row, and we're going to be happy about it. And then I'll fix up the rest in details, because it'll be way easier to make one little piece than to try and make the whole piece. And it won't be perfect, but it will be okay. Are you suggesting we are a hallucination? Aren't we all? So that was 24 around, and now I'm changing to my yellow to finish making little fellow. I should have done this earlier too. almost. I definitely should have done this earlier too, but I ain't frogging. We've been working too hard. Apparently back in the 60s they tried introducing panthers to Australia to keep the dingo population down, but it just caused the drop in population to skyrocket. Massive ecological disaster. You know there's still sightings of those panthers in and around like the Nullarbor areas. Don't know how much credence to give them, but then I'm part of I've got some family history and some family Kool-Aid that I'm not quite ready to air regarding Australian creatures. Did you hallucinate the Everybody Frog shirt you've got on? It's actually just plain coloured. I'm not everybody frogging today, I'm just complicated knotting. By the crafting definition, not the book talk definition. Speaking of introduced creatures though, you know how cane toads are an ecological disaster here in Australia because nothing could eat them and so they were just ripping through everywhere and having a great old time? Apparently the local saltwater crocs have decided and they've worked out how to snack on them. So, crocodiles, man, like they've been here for a real long time and they will adapt. That and some wading birds have worked out how to knock the toads over so that they can eat the non-poisonous side, which is also a helpful thing. You think he's megapoded? He's a little megapoded. I think he's still smaller than for alligator though. Alright, so hypothetically, I have made quite a muck of this, if I'm honest. Because if I'm trying to pretend that that's where the second armpit falls, that means the arm's down here, and the arm's actually going to be up here, which means this is not a helpful place for this. I actually need to frog back that yellow line and do it all the way up here. And I'm going to do that, and you're going to be patient with me, and I love you for that. Thank you very much. So we need to go back 1 row, 2 rows, and the arm goes here. So let's say 2 rows of the blue. Let's change to yellow back here. And that is what it is. 2 rows is nothing in the grand scheme of getting this done. That's 1. And 2. See how fast that was? Nothing. Child's play. You're everybody frogging today. I have some good ideas, I think. I think they're good ideas anyway for some new shirts. I just need to sit down and actually design the dang diddly darn things. Which I'm hoping to get to at some point this month. Oh, no thank you, love. I appreciate you though. He offered me some cheese. And also he's pretty dang cute. Yeah, sorry, I'm focused. I'm focused. We are going to rebuild the rows we lost. And we will just be glad for the rows we had along the way. And I'm not going to bother with the front post thing. I actually didn't think it was adding much to it, considering that we're going to be sewing a piece over the top probably anyway. And if it is a problem, I'll end up just making a chain that we chuck over the top anyway. Maybe make arm first? I think I'm... nah, the arm's going to be a 6-stitch too, but I'm pretty confident I know what they look like at this point. So I'm okay with that. My visualizer is usually pretty reliable. Panthers thrived alright in Australia. It's wild how some invasive species... I don't know if the panthers thrived, because there's some people who reject the idea that they even existed. It's one of those, like, the things... but I know that the feral cat population here is a huge problem, and those cats, they aren't the cute little house cats that you're thinking of. These are like real big feral cats. They're big and they are mean, and they are not domesticated at all, and they are not built for it. Can you still get the frogging one? Yeah, I mean, it still exists. It's on my... I have a fourth wall shop. I actually don't know if I've linked it to this channel, but it's linked to the Complicated Knots channel. And I think the only shirt that I've removed from sale is possibly the Boring Colour Brigade one, because I just started feeling a little bit iffy about what that looked like out of context, and I don't want to I don't want to be spreading any kind of bad vibes out there. So yeah, that one came down. But I have one that in particular that I'm quite excited about is sorry, we live in a community, there are community sounds. One that I'm quite excited about is like a panicked skeleton noises one, which I think will be really funny. Alrighty. I don't know if I did that row correctly, but I'm just giving it a red hot go. Do I know at the moment what my next tutorial is going to be? I am afraid I do not. Normally I would do one as the first week of the month, but we're skipping that in June because I did 2 in May, and then the video, like, oh my goodness, my schedule has been a mess. I'm doing my best to be better, but it means the next tutorial will be the first week of July, and as of right this second, I don't know necessarily what it will be. It will potentially be related to the video that comes out at the end of June, but I don't want to reveal what that is yet. So there is a little bit of a wait before the next one becomes a thing. Still have to do something with all of those requests y'all put in. Like, I am low-key planning a video, it just hasn't quite made it onto a schedule yet. Yeah, exactly. That's why we've kind of like toned it down a little bit. Like BCB is fine, but like when you break down what the letters are, it's just a little bit, I don't know. I would never want anybody to feel uncomfortable or unwelcome, and I feel like that's got a kind of a vibe where you might in certain situations. So that ain't what we're about here. But the frogging one, I adore the Everybody Frog shirt, and will probably be around forever. There we go. Round and round and round and round and round. And I'd love to get a better, higher res version, like a vectorized version of the Complicated Knots logo one there. Unfortunately, when I first made this logo, I made it in a mishmash of programs, and it's not a standardized font, and I saved it as a PNG in like all of the graphical types that I needed, but I never foresaw a future where I would need to put it on shirts, and so it wasn't a vector. And so I have a vector program that I just need to put it in and just like recreate it as a solid artwork, but these things take time. And I don't have Illustrator or anything that can just trace it for me. So I have to kind of just, yeah. Like I'm wearing the original one now, so it's not like it's bad or anything, but it would be nice to have like one that's a little bit sharper, a little bit cleaner. Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, the Panic Skeleton Noises is pretty much a stream specific one because the main channel won't have any idea what that's about. But I have a few other more general ones, a couple of other ideas in the mix. But I'm gonna have a play with anyway, and we'll see how we go. Because I'd like to get another couple of shirts out there before the end of the year. If only because I like to have new shirts to wear. Since you're getting a Pokemon Black every month, are we just getting one that we just had, or 2 this month? You are just getting the one that you just had, because if I have to look at another editing screen with that dang gameplay on it for another second, I might go cuckoo bananas. I am trying really hard to find a way to make... I love that series for what it is, and it's not that I don't enjoy making it, but it just doesn't fit very easily into a production schedule for me right now. And so I'm trying to move things around behind the scenes that will either change the way the production goes on those videos or changes up the format a little bit of those videos. Something that makes them manageable within the time frame I can give them, because my goodness, like making those videos, specifically that Pokemon Black series with Soul Silver, it kind of was that way as well, but for some reason it wasn't as bad. It feels like I'm trying to take a live octopus and gently, because I love the octopus, stuff it into some Tupperware and put the lid on, and the tentacles just keep blop, 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 blopping out. It's a recalcitrant octopus into Tupperware, and I would love to work out how to get it under control so I can reliably put them out. But I need to work out where the problem is with it, because there is something that just doesn't quite work. and it becomes worse, or just like more intense, or like more, I become more aware of it every time I have to make one. And so I'm working on working on that. But in the meantime, I would much rather make a 100-hour project than another episode of that this month. So I'm just doing that. For the bigger fox pattern, you can't get the feet to stay flat. As in the like curve under, or swish to the side, or you can't get the feet to like sit out the front. Yeah, I found that octopus analogy to be quite a useful one when explaining some key things. It's one I've carried with me for a very long time, to the point where I don't even know if it's mine or if I grabbed it from someone, because it's been with me for so long as a friendly little passenger that I don't know. You're not sure Tupperware is a good place to keep an octopus? That's kind of the problem. It's not. The Tupperware is the problem there, and the octopus knows it. And what you are not trying to injure said octopus. You love that octopus and you're trying to treat it nicely, but for some reason you really need it to get in that Tupperware. And so in this context, the Tupperware is the upload schedule, and I need to get that octopus into that upload schedule, but maybe that octopus isn't suitable for that upload schedule, if you know what I mean. So it's exactly what I'm expressing. Tupperware may not be a good place for that octopus. And I've said the word octopus far too many times. Let's add octopus oat flour. Ha ha ha. Just to even it out. Alright, it is time to bulb you off, sir. You are definitely ready to become a Bulbasaur. Let's do this. 24 divided by 6 is 4. So if I do that, that should work just nicely. I think that should get us down to 18, and it's you beauty. We'll do one of these, and then we'll do one of these, and I'm going to confirm for you guys right now, we're not doing the second one today. We're going to just get this one done. So, if anybody was worried about that, I mean, I know last time I was like, no, we're definitely not doing another one, and then we did do another one. Whoa! But I can tell you right now, I am hungry, and I am tired, and I want nothing more than to like disassociate and stare at a video game. Well, sorry, I want one thing more than that, and that is to finish off a satisfying stream and chill out with you guys for a little bit longer, but I definitely don't want to extend it by another 3 hours, so that's not going to happen. Octopuses in the chat. It's a cephalopod party! There we go. Round and around and around and around. What can we do to make him feel more complete? Probably arms and legs. Everybody's shirts design is so good. Oh, thank you. I'll admit that I've gotten the odd compliment when I leave the house in it, because like I mean it when I say that they are the shirts that I wear. That and the new Dungeon Crawler Carl ones that I have now. Yeah, I've gotten the odd compliment for it, and I like that, because then I'm just somebody outside wearing a shirt that people are complimenting and they don't really know, and I love not having to tell them that it's mine. It's like the level of self-consciousness would be too high, but somebody else saying, oh hey, I like that shirt, look at the cute little frog, I'm just like, yeah, I love him, don't you? It's like the end. It's nice. I'm really sorry if you can hear the wailing through the walls. I feel like I've hit the weird part of the stream on my end. Not sure what's happening. That's okay. I think I was ranting about octopuses. And I think that's okay. Everybody else is hearing that, right? Yeah, I like the Everybody Frogs shirt, but like I love the idea of stickers. I do, because I've got like lots of little sketches that could be cute little stickers. What I don't love is the merch company I use, which is Fourth Wall, the massive markup that they have on making stickers. It's like stickers are something that if I was hosting the stock myself, I would make them free with purchase or whatever. Like you buy a shirt, I'll throw a sticker in type of thing. Maybe that's just me undervaluing what people value stickers as. But like, I would do more stickers if the price point that I could make them available at was different. But unfortunately, it is not. And so I've kind of just like leaned away from stickers a little bit. And it's a very unhappy child, yeah. No, it's just somebody having a bit of a long afternoon, I'm thinking. Because normally they are very happy children next door. I'm sorry you all could hear it. Like, normally we don't really hear the neighbours. But, like, it's one of those things about living in a block of apartments is that, like, well, units, I think they are technically. It's like, you got to keep in mind that you live with a community around you. So, like, the dog barking upstairs, that's just the dog in your community. And the children who are giggling next door, that's usually really lovely to hear. We're also going to have bad days sometimes. And part of being a community is understanding that. You finished my 5-year-old octopus pattern this past week. Oh, I feel old. I can't believe I've been doing this for more than 5 years, but you're right, I'm coming up on 6 as of the end of July, I think. So, awesome. Hopefully that octopus holds up okay. I've done my new one since then, the Dumbo octopus, I think I did last year. But good to know that those older patterns are still getting some watches, and some people are still making them, because like some of them can be a little on the rough side. And I've toyed in the past with taking them down, but like as long as someone's getting some use out of them, like they're not hurting anybody to stay available. It's just I've even changed some of the terminology that I use since then. I've definitely changed the way that I film them. Yeah, we all have those days, kid. Exactly. You need another cat bunny? No! Is that video still called You Can Skip This One? Because that's how I felt at the time, and I still don't know how I feel about it now. I don't know if I ended up changing that to like, it's a cat bunny pattern. But it used to be called, and still might be, You Can Skip This One. I was having a bad week. There's nothing wrong with Ozark the Sinful and whatever the other one's name is. But like, was it Ozark the Deceiver and someone the Sinful?
I was about to come in and check. Yeah, that was Ozark the Sinful and Lord Thiefington.
Lord Thiefington! Ozark the Sinful and Lord Thiefington. There's nothing wrong with them. And it's like, I look back at them now and I'm just like, those are fine. It's just, I think it was my first touch with making something that was a little bit more of a departure from just a creature. It's just a little bit more of like, I drew a picture and decided to go with it. But I was also having a hard week and nothing was coming easily. And so I was feeling pretty like bleh about them by the time they became available. And so, hence the title, You Can Probably Skip This One. I said to my audience of like maybe 1,000 people at the time. Yours is Arc Lecter Severard, and he is a very serious individual. Good to know. I know somebody was doing a series of them at one point. I definitely saw like a David Bowie Ziggy Stardust cat from that range. He sees everything, I believe. 5 and 6. Alright, so this is the start of one of those little arm tubes. And I'm going to be really annoying for myself. And how am I doing these fingies? Could do pokey picots. I'm worried they might end up just being too big. We're going to try some little pokey picots. Except I got tangled in my own yarn. Imagine living next to a husky. But no, like even then, there's been dogs that lived upstairs before. The only time it really bothered me was one year I was really, really stressed about the 12 days of crochet. And somebody upstairs had clearly gotten some kind of new puppy who had pretty bad separation anxiety, and they barked solidly. And I was so stressed because I was trying to get my filming done and the barking was ruining every single take. And then footage got corrupted and I was stressed about other things going on. It was not the fault of this poor dog. And I was just like, as a human being with empathy, in hindsight, I just feel bad for this animal going through an absolute crisis. But at the time, I felt very sorry for myself because it was causing an absolute crisis downstairs. 1, 2, 3. I'm kind of just like picoing and slip stitching into the front loop. And it's not gonna look right because that's too much of a gap between fingies. So even if I do 3 and 4, no, I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe we do the feet first. Because for the feet, we just basically need to do a tube and a bulb. You have a friend with 3 huskies and 3 kids under 5. They don't know the meaning of peace. But what a boisterous and lovely household they must have. And it's good. They've got kids to walk the dogs and dogs to walk the kids. Well, I suppose in a couple of years. Say, I am fast approaching a point where I would very much like a pet again. We're getting there though. Just trying to make sure that I am in a, like, in the apartment. I've spoken before about how I don't know how I feel about it, but I'm just like, I'm trying to get to a point where, like, I know that the animal will be getting everything that it needs and wants in order to be happy, and that is when I can do it. Because, like, if the dog was small enough, it's not going to notice that it's in just a smallish area. And Mr. Bones is doing a great job in growing grass at the moment. He's got 2 big truff pots, like truff benchy thingies, and he's growing grass in them. It's like, cool, we have grass, dogs need grass, I need grass as a human being. So we're potentially getting closer to embarking upon a mission that might be that. There's a lot of equivocation there. Dog is becoming an option for you again too? Oh, I'm excited for you. Because it's one of those things of like, you have to be sure that you are, like, for the entire lifespan of these little guys, which can be up to like 15 years, that you are prepared to, like, house and love and look after them and make sure that they're getting the care that they need. And until I'm in that spot, I'm absolutely not going anywhere near it. Because it's not fair. 5, 2, 3. Yeah. So I'm trying to just curve up into the leg now, which I might be honestly totting the legs for what they need to be. That's 4. Let's make it 5. Then 1, 2. Planning to adopt ancient gremlins from the shelter. I love old dogs. Oh, lovely. Admittedly, here there's only certain kinds of dogs you can get from shelters, and they are not dogs that I am personally equipped to handle. That just seems to be the dogs that are available in our space. Yeah. So I haven't even thought about the idea of tackling like the, okay, cool, so now I'm ready for one, and I think I'm set up for one. Where do I actually get one that isn't also some sort of massive ethical violation? But I will cross that bridge when we cross the first 2 bridges. Yeah, see, like, greyhounds, laziest noodles you'll ever meet, but my goodness, those noodles can be speedy. I'm making the leg, in case I forgot to actually say that out loud. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's the bigger mutts, and it's certain breeds as well. I know that I am not temperamentally suited for, and also I have allergies to kind of take into account as well. But yeah, it's about just like feeling our way forward on this. I wouldn't mind some sort of little mutt. I don't have anything against mutts in general. Little mutts, little fluffy things, little sausage dogs, but they tend to be quite popular over here anyway. That's it. In fact, they were so popular over COVID that the prices for them spiked up to like something like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 an animal, which of course spurred on a bunch of backyard breeder stuff, which I'm going to gently peel myself away from ranting about because we're too tired to mitigate our speech properly, and we're keeping this a cozy zone. There's a golden retriever few units up who fights tooth and claw to come say hi when she gets walked past. Golden retrievers love us, and I hope to be worthy of that love. Or every golden retriever. I am speaking just about every golden retriever loves us, and all we can do is try and be worthy. It's a little foot. We're just like building the leg up from this angle. Could get a hamster or something small like that. Hamsters are illegal here. I've had guinea pigs in the past. Also considered birds because I like birds and I have lived with pet birds before, but I also just don't love the idea of a bird that isn't allowed to fly whenever it wants, and that is the reality of most pet birds. Though I'm sure that they're happy. I'm not picking on anybody who has pet birds because the pet birds I lived with previously were quite happy. It's just more of a, like my idea of a bird versus what the bird itself wants. Thought about bunnies. I have thought about bunnies because bunnies are kind of like the happy zone in the middle. Your sister has an Akita lab mix. Big dog. Big dogs can be the sweetest things ever. 1, 2, 3, 4. 7. Be the human the golden retrievers think you are. Exactly. Well put, honey. Well put. To be clear here, Sith Assassin, $2,000 is bordering upon insane for a pet. It was for illustrative purposes as to where we were at the time, because I was like literally feeling the way I am currently now just before the world shut down, and so I had been looking at some options and I got to see those prices pop in real time. In fact, actually, I'd forgotten that little piece of lore that I don't know if I've actually shared before. So I started Complicated Knots for many, many reasons, which means sometimes I answer the question differently when I'm asked depending on the context. But one of the reasons that I started selling patterns originally back in April of 2020, was my first pattern, I'm pretty sure, was because I was trying to save up $4,000 to try and get a puppy. Like, that was like, or you know, as like one of the steps of like, cool, let's save up money to be able to afford it. And that is just like one of the, that was a bit of lore that I actually straight up forgot about until this moment. Yeah. Yeah, it's just, it was one of those things. And then I realized that there was some I don't know, then I realized that I liked doing what I was doing and there was some potential here, and I turned on a camera and the rest was kind of all she wrote. It's fun lore until you realize it's 6 years later. I've more than met that requirement. And there's still, the fuzziest thing in this household is honestly probably me, but the second fuzziest is Mr. Bones. Stream puppy. Yeah. Something like that. We're thinking about it. That is all. Okay, I'm nearly ready to close off the back of this foot, but not quite there yet. Hello, my love. Give us 1 second, everybody. Folks, we were just negotiating dinner.
Negotiations.
Yes.
Ah.
Out of pure curiosity, what kind of dogs would you consider getting? I've had Shih Tzu Poodles in the past, so I've had a Shih Tzu Poodle in the past, so I have a soft spot for any of those like mini poodle fluffy blends that require a lot of upkeep for their coats, because I know that like they tend to be low shed, and I know that I can live with them without sneezing myself to an early grave, into croaking, as it were. I also have a soft spot for any of like the sausage dogs, any of the like the real little ones. For the strata that I live in has a rule, I think it's under 9 kilos, so I am restricted by the laws of the bylaws of the building I live in, that it has to be a very small animal, and that would be all I'd be comfortable having in this sort of space anyway. So so yeah, it's one of those things where like I love the idea of having a bigger dog as well. I've never had them before, but I've had working dogs before on the farm, but they're kind of a different beast. They're more your supervisors than they are your pets. Whereas like I'm ready to have an animal that's just absolutely full of attitude. I don't mind like pugs or French bulldogs and that sort of thing, but I'd want them crossed with something responsibly, so that they don't have as many health or breeding issues that they have, which is one of the things that I have kind of against any of the Cocker Spaniels or the Cavapoos or Cavoodles or whatever it is that they're calling them these days. I know there's a lot of health issues in some of them, and I wouldn't want to help perpetuate that. Logic is if you win the lotto, then you can get a dog. You feel badly if you get on its home while you're at work. Oh, yeah. See, that's not so much of a concern for me because I am home all the time. So, like, the separation anxiety I get with Mr. Bones. All the more reason to get mixes. Exactly. But, like, responsible. Like I said, there's a whole ethical question involved there that I don't want to, like, probe too far into right now. But, yeah, you got to find it, like, responsibly done. 11, 14, there we go. And like none of this like we invented a new breed and we've called it the Schnickerdoodle or whatever, and it's like no, that's a mutt. That's what it's a very cute mutt, but it's a mutt and we love it very much, but let's not go pretending it's not. Mr. Bones, I know. Y'all, you see what I live with? Isn't he delightful? Your friend's friend got a pug Dachshund mix, and I was like, oh wow, how many health problems in one dog? Well, that's the thing. I know that there's big work being done in pug breeding to help bring them back to a breed standard that actually doesn't have the same genetic problems. Like they're lengthening the snouts back out, they're getting longer legs, and it's helping some of those breathing problems resolve. And that's great. That is amazing work. I'm pretty sure that's the pug. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, like that's cool. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, cool. That is what we're up to right now. That said, my animal would be immediately fixed if it did not come that way, because like you don't have any accidents around here. Yeah, French bulldogs are probably a big focus for that as well. I know French bulldogs were real popular. Maybe I suppose it probably doesn't change very quickly. I remember them being very popular. Let's wait. How long have I been full time? Maybe 5 years ago. Maybe 5 years ago. It was like a big thing in the office I was working in. It's like I can appreciate them as little creatures living little lives and having little attitudes, but they never quite hit that buzzer for me of like, oh, I love them. It's like if one was placed in front of me, I would find a way to adore it. But it's not a creature that I would personally seek out at the expense of all others. Yeah. They're doing the same thing with the bulldog in the UK. Excellent. They should be doing the same thing with any breed that are having those kinds of massive health problems. Like if they can go back to a breed standard that was healthier for the animal, there is absolutely no excuse not to be. And I am going to once again pull back out a bit of this, just a little bit, and go back to talking about fuzzy animals. Oh yeah, let's do the name vote. Thank you, Mr. Bones. That's great. So, let's see. Option 1 is yeah, no. It's a real Australianism there. I remember seeing crikey. I saw... honey, I promise I'm looking at your list. I promise I am. There's panicked skeleton noises that he's getting ignored after doing so much good work. Tony Croc. Wait, I've got yeah, no, Tony Croc, crikey, and Crocotot. Right? There we go. That is how I have spelled it. You may name the little fellow. And yes, I had a Shih Tzu Poodle mix. And yes, I nearly named him Winston so that he could be Winnie the Shih Tzu Poodle mix. And anybody who knows what you shorten Shih Tzu Poodle into would know why that's so funny to me. But in the end, his name was Sam. Because jokes are jokes, but Names are something that a little creature has to live with. And while Winnie would have worked for him, he was very much a Sam. Probably would have named him Winnie if he had been a girl, though. Winnie, I think, is a real cute name for a girl. Little girl dog. The OG photos of pugs is wild. What did we do? We're fixing it, or at least some people out there are working really hard to try and fix it. The panicked skeleton. Oh, look, he's got pink lichen all over one hand. I guess he's been dipping it in milk again. You have a Shih Tzu Poodle? Aren't they the most opinionated little friends? The dog at work you got told was Manny, but people called him Welly. Turns out his actual name's Emmanuel, so I call him Emmanueli. Oh, Emmanueli. That's even funnier. I like that a lot. Accident with dye. Oh, right, yeah. Mr. Bones has been crafting again. He was dyeing something with beet juice and Earl Grey tea. For a D&D character. I don't know much else about it, just it was for a D&D character. There we go, and there we go. Well, you're a hopful little one. I can tell because you're standing on one leg. But at least you've got a leg to stand on. That's something. Let's whip up the other one real quick, shall we? Because I have a throbbing headache. Oh, let's make the legs. Let's make them. I'm hopeful that I will be able to get some of these done by next week. Honestly, it's just because I went away over Friday and Saturday, which are normally the days I catch up on these Pokemon. Otherwise, more would be made. Managed to get Ladybird done on Thursday, and before I left. So there's a pretty good chance that I'll be able to pick off at least half of the ones that we have outstanding at the moment. By the time we start hitting those final 5, final 6, it'd be real good to have our numbers down and neat and clean and finished so we can pick off those final Pokédex slots. Emmanuelle is very cute. Your dog was named Gabby when you got her. You didn't like the name initially, but she knew it, and then she learned a billion nicknames. Gabbo, Bug, Eggy, Goblin. If it was Egg. Eggy. Mila. He's not a friendly dog, though. No, and like, I think it's important to also respect animal boundaries as well, and not all of them will be friendly. Like, particularly if just because your dog is friendly does not mean that that other dog over there is friendly. So always approach with caution. Mr. Bones, I think you're getting confused between the name Gabby and the name Cavi, which is the joke made in Shrek. But know that I got your reference. I'm just not sure anybody else will. They'll just think you're insulting a small dog. First time in a year you get to vote for names. Time zones. Yeah, time zones be doing their timing and their zoning thing. But I'm excited that you get to name at least one of them. Originally my plan was to try and have streams at a couple of different times of day, but then we just sort of settled in, and I don't know, it's always the biases of whoever I'm talking to at the time. Where I'll tell one group on stream, it's like, oh, I've been thinking about moving it to 5 o'clock, and I hear, oh no, that time doesn't work. And so like, oh yeah, okay, that time doesn't work, I shouldn't move it. But every so often things align so that I do it at a different time, and that's nice too. I like the idea that some people who are usually exclusively relegated to the replay game got to be here for this little bit of a thing today. Are you referring to the Zootalos story? Because I think we've actually already told that one on stream. It's just we ended up having to type it in the Discord anyway. It's not really a stream friendly story. Defecate a loaf. I mean, I suppose that's one way around it. You could have gone with excrete a loaf.
Yeah, it's just
The quote from Beauty and the Beast is, Zootalos, she has emerged.
Yeah.
Mr. Bones doesn't speak French and didn't know that was the line, and so what he said was a curse word that also means to defecate. A loaf, she has emerged. And it took me a second, and this was surprisingly early on in our dating.
You were at work at the time.
I was on my way home from work. Yeah, and jeepers, we'd only known each other like a month.
Yeah.
It was not very far in. I'm being told by the mods that I'm not allowed to use excrete. Fine. I don't know why this story's come up. But okay, I guess I don't really need to either. Ooh, y'all are feeling quite decisive today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just want to finish this piece, that's all. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Oh, okay. There's only 12 stitches and not 14 in this leg. I'm calling it. That is the poster! Look! I'll show the poster. It's shiny! You can see your own reflection in it. This is the A2 version. I have the A3 versions. There's like I got it printed as like one A2 version and two A3s on the same page. The A3s are inside the frame with it. This is just a $12 frame or something. Cheap and plastic to keep it safe and nice. But that is our Gen 1 Crochetdex, and it has all the names on it. So if you zoom right in, it's Ninetales. Her name is Lola. We have Jigglypuff, named Jiggles, or Wigglytuff is Wiggles. We have Doug Trio, named Dip Duck Dive, and so on and so forth. So I have that, and I'm quite proud of it. And I'm trying to find a place to put it on the walls. I have a few options, but I haven't done it yet. And in the meantime, I thought it could be in the background of stream. But yes, that's it. We are ending the stream. We have a few little bits of cleanup to do first. So it looks like it was a very close vote. But Tony Crook was the winner with 38% of the vote. Then came Yeah Nor at 34%, and then Cracky at 18%, and Crocatot at just 10%. So thank you to everybody who voted. That's all good. And I also have to do the reveals of the other two prehistoric options that we had today. So our other two options probably won't surprise you. We had Bayleaf, the literal dinosaur, and we had Piloswine, the little tiny mammoth. And we know that he's a mammoth because he turns into Mammothswine, who is clearly a mammoth. With just a stumpy-nosed mammoths. So those are the three options today. Get used to seeing Bayleaf and Piloswine for the next couple of weeks, because I'm determined to get them done before we hit the final 5. Awesome. Yeah. So, you did not think of Bayleaf, the obvious dino? Excellent. I got one over on you. But that's excellent. We are gonna call it here today, folks. I'm sorry it's only been about 2 hours, but I have had a long day. So keep an eye out for a video on Thursday. Hopefully I get it out on time. I'm quite excited about the concept, but we'll see how we go. And other than that, I'll see you at the usual time next week. We'll go back to, it's 11 a.m. for me, so whatever the normal time is for you, that'll be when the stream is next week. But that's it. And I will, yeah, okay, everybody. Happy time zone. Bye. Oh, there There's a microphone.